Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 2007 edition of MHS Alumni Roundtable. Each year, I'm Dr. Mark Offinger, the principal of Mamaroneck High School, and sitting next to me is Dr. Paul Freed, our superintendent of schools. We're delighted to have you with us. Each year, we invite seniors who graduated last year back just to see how they're doing for the first 6 months after they've left high school. We are so happy to have you back. And I can't tell you how strange a feeling it is for me just to watch you here. It seems as though you're still in the school. Anyway, I thought we'd begin the show by going around and starting with Catherine. Just introduce yourself, and if you would, tell where you are this year. Catherine?
Hi, my name is Catherine, and I go to Georgetown.
My name is Julia, and I go to Georgetown, too.
I hope everybody's not Georgetown.
My name is Sam, and I go to Cornell.
My name is Ian, and I go to Rhode Island School of Design.
My name is Eric. I go to Johns Hopkins University.
My name's Sarah, and I go to Duke.
My name's Abby, and I go to Northwestern.
My name's Suzanne, and I go to Cornell.
My name's Sophie, I go to Harvard.
My name's Marion, and I go to Pomona.
My name's Spencer, I go to NYU.
My name is Jessica, I go to University of Bridgeport.
My name is Kristen, I go to Villanova.
My name is Jenny, I go to Washington University in St. Louis. It's a mouthful.
My name is Molly, and I go to Barnard College.
My name is David. I also go to Washington University in St. Louis.
My name is Charlie. I'm going to go to Middlebury eventually, I hope. I've been in France for the past 4 months, taking a semester off.
My name is Rob. I go to Harvard.
So welcome to all of you. And you know, I thought I would just begin casually by asking how the first 6 months been.
Raise our hand.
Just talking out. Sam, go ahead.
So they've been pretty good so far. It's really like, in terms of how hard it is, it really depends on like what you make of it. Like you can make it as hard or as easy as you want, regardless of where you are.
Is it kind of what you expected at Cornell?
I mean, I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. I mean, I just figured it'd be called. Yeah. That's all I knew.
Yeah, I agree. Just from
Suzanne?
being at the same school, especially a school that like has a reputation like where all the kids are really, really competitive. I mean, I haven't found that at all. Like everyone I've associated with so far has been more relaxed than people I knew in high school generally, and I think it's just
So are you saying we're totally anxiety-ridden in high school?
Yeah. No, and everyone's just like, I mean, it's totally, also people are doing different things more so than in high school where everyone's doing similar things, so it's harder to be competitive, but I mean, yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel
it's very nice.
Better atmosphere with that kind of mix?
I mean, I find myself working harder than a lot of like my suite mates in my dorm, which is weird sometimes because I feel like I'm missing out, but yeah, it's nice.
We have a 2006 class comedian here, so you know, it's funny though because you think 2007, sorry. I'm a year behind the time. You would think that when you got to college you'd feel more pressure rather than this, but it's interesting what you say. How about the rest of you? How have the first few months gone? Kath?
Go ahead.
Ian?
I was just saying, I think a lot of the stress from high school comes from applying to college. So once you're in, it's like a giant weight off your shoulders. So you can kind of like get into your classes and really enjoy them.
And I feel like once you're in college, like you're doing it more for yourself, not for like a later. And so when I get like stressed out about work, I realize what I'm doing is stuff I'm really interested in and I love. So it's not really work. It's like much more fun.
Do you mean you're less concerned about your grades now in college than you were in high school?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Boy, that is good to hear.
I'm much more concerned about my grades now.
Yeah,
you are?
I'm more concerned about my grades.
Oh, really?
I mean,
yes,
I'm like, yeah, I mean, I basically just go to meetings and they tell me if I don't have a 3.7, I'm not going to get into med school. So that's kind of stressful. But
I calm her down.
But I mean, I think like in college, the stress is definitely more like from yourself rather than from being an AP class with all the same students than directly competing with everyone else's GPA. Whereas now it's really competing like with yourself, and you know what you want in the future. So it's just driving yourself to do that.
You know, it's so interesting what you say, because you know this week seniors found out, seniors who applied early decision, and people are walking around with the most incredible pressure on their shoulders. Some people got in, some people got deferred. So I think for people out there, it's such a good feeling to realize that once you get in, a lot of that pressure dissipates. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And I guess, Catherine, it depends on what your major is. So if you're thinking of going to medical school, that's a different story where you need a very high average.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't feel pressure from my teachers. Don't put a lot of pressure on me, and it really is just for myself. So, I mean, everyone in my pre-med classes is going through the same thing, so it's not that bad.
How about the rest of you? Have the first few months gone? Sarah.
Hey, how you doing?
Not that I want to call on Sarah.
I know, I've been quiet. Really great, actually. What I actually was really surprised is, I don't know, you show up there and your parents drop you off and you cry a little bit, and then you sort of think that, okay, this is college, it's the real world, and they're gonna throw me into this group of, in my case, 1,500 kids, and this is it. But I think what you don't realize is they do a really good job of easing you into it, and the college organizes a lot of mixers and a lot of get to know you, and you're put into small focus groups, and they walk you through the first month, which I think it's really awkward in the beginning, but I guess I've come to appreciate it so much, because I realized that, I thought I was the most outgoing person ever and I was going to do a great job, and I got there and I was so overwhelmed, and then they really walked you through it, which I did not expect, and I'm so grateful for that.
I think it's the best kept secret that the beginning of college is actually difficult, because you see everyone at Thanksgiving when they come back and it's amazing, I love it, right. But everyone sort of has already gotten over those first few weeks where it's wow, I know no one.
Yeah.
Right. Weird.
Right.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Can't hear it.
Not that I want to call on people, but Charlie, just wanted to ask you, you are the first person I think I've had on the round table who has taken a gap. You haven't gone to college immediately. You're planning to start in February, and you spent 6 months in France. Could you just tell us what led to that, and whether, looking back, you think that was a good decision you made?
It's a very case-by-case situation, I think. For me, it was good so far. I don't know. Maybe those first months are going to be really rough, but so far it's been good. I had a friend who had done this thing at Middlebury where you start in February, and he said it was the greatest experience of his life, and he came in a little more prepared to face all the stuff at college. So hopefully I'll enter college having a different experience, and more ready to jump into classes and friends and all that kind of stuff. But it's really hard to say right now if it was the right decision. I had a great time in France, so.
Charlie, a lot of parents are worried that if you take 6 months or a year off, you'll decide not to go back, so they kind of freak out when you say, I'm taking a year off.
It's tempting.
To use the vernacular, but
it's tempting.
But you hear all your friends.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've heard stories from all of these guys, and college sounds like a blast. And you kind of get into high school, and the whole time you hear older brothers, older people being oh, college was so cool, college is great. So I'm unbelievably excited to go start college.
Yeah.
And I had a great time, and so I'm happy I made the decision.
A little side story, actually. I guess when Charlie's in Paris, I have to stay up late to be able to talk to him, so I'll stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning online. And I guess I remember just the day Middlebury courses came out, and Charlie and I actually sat online together, and we were looking through courses for him to take next semester. It was even exciting for me.
Yeah. And then I get mad because you didn't tell me, and I didn't come over and talk to him.
Yeah. The funny thing is, he's not the only one awake at 4 or 5 in the morning. He has to keep telling people, "Oh, hang on, I'm on the phone." Who are you talking to?
I can't resist, since you're talking about each other and keeping in touch. I'm just curious, are you in touch with most of the people you were very friendly with in high school?
Yeah. Facebook?
Yeah.
Such a miracle.
So talk a little bit about that. Kristen, are you?
Yeah, I talk to them almost every day. Online usually. A lot of my friends are really busy though, so I don't talk to them as much as I like, but I always try to get my 5 minutes in and catch up with them every day. So.
And have you made other good friends yet?
Yeah, I have. I'm a nursing major, and I'm in a really small program. So there's only about 80 of us. So we're all really close, and we all know each other really well. So.
Yeah. Not that you should have made a good friend yet. I mean, it's only 6 months, but I'm just curious, have the rest of you made friends?
Yeah. Actually, some of my school friends just left this afternoon. They already came down and visited, so we hung out. And
That's great.
What?
Let me give Eric a chance. Go
well,
ahead.
I'm in like a suite with 4 other people, which is really nice because you meet 4 people, but then there are a bunch of different suites on your floor, and you become friends with people in other suites, and you end up meeting a lot of different people, and it's a whole networking thing.
Really,
and
I don't really like it.
You don't like it?
Like I go into the other dorms, like Sam's dorm or something, where it's like there's just like it's like more just rows of like room, and I think like you like well, it's easier to do homework in my dorm, but like it's very like it's kind of cut off like.
Well, I feel like it's a little bit quieter, but sometimes that can be a good thing, especially if you have to study.
It's good.
And then, I mean, just going back to what you said about networking and talking to your old friends, one of my friends from here, Steve Shafron, is in Israel right now. And, you know, you can talk to him on Instant Messenger, you can talk to him on Facebook, even though he's, you know, thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
Which I think is really nice. And you can keep in touch with him and see how he's doing.
I recommend getting a Mac because then you can video chat.
You can do it now on any other computer.
It's much harder. It's really easy on a Mac because then it's just in the program iChat, and it's just a built-in thing.
Skype.
Yeah, Sam, you'd have a number of teachers who will advocate to Dr. Fried that we get Macs that like Macs too. Can I ask you about something that people are really curious about, roommates? Some of you already started saying you have 1, you have 2, you're in a single. Roommates, we've had some interesting discussions in past years about roommates. Could you tell us how many roommates and just how is it, Molly?
Well, I am actually into switch roommates because we really did not get along, and it was just obvious that it was not going to work. So that was really difficult. Like, it just added to the difficulty of like my first month and a half or so. And then after like 2 months, I switched roommates, and that made just a world of difference because now we like really good friends and are just perfect for each other. So
am I putting you on the spot when I ask what about the first roommate did not work?
Okay, well.
And I hope that roommate
Molly's
is not
just
watching,
really
by the way. Be discreet, Molly.
Well, I mean, what it came down to was that her boyfriend was always over. So on top of that, I didn't find, well, residential life wasn't very helpful either, which didn't really help, help obviously. But then when, so like, there was like hostility and things, but when it became apparent that this other roommate pair wasn't getting along either, I was kind of like matched with this girl, and we talked first and decided to switch rooms. So then our roommates wanted to live together. So
you know, given the size of a room, when you have a boyfriend over night and day, it really makes it impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, as it is, you're shoehorned into usually a tiny room, right? Jessica?
Yeah, I almost had the same issue with my roommate. I started school August 9th, a little earlier than most people because of soccer, and I had to roommate with one of my teammates. She's from Wales. At the beginning, we could not stand each other because we were with each other. We had 3 practices a day for like 3 hours each, so we were together day and night, and school hasn't even started yet. So I guess that's like what, I don't know, we just couldn't take each other anymore, and we worked it out. Like, now we're fine. Actually, we're really close. Like, we go everywhere together. But at first, like, it was just start off as like us being together too much, and then I almost had the same thing with a boyfriend, except she had a girlfriend that was always in the room. So it was just a little awkward, but we're fine. Like, we're really close friends now. So.
Because even if you like someone, like fights are like totally inevitable.
I'm just ignoring you, Sarah. Go ahead, Julia. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Why should this year be any different? Sorry, I'm just joking, Sarah. Just teasing you. Yeah.
No, fights are like totally inevitable. Like, we love, like, my roommate is our best friend.
Yeah.
Plus, like, another girl, and like, we still, like, she gets like on my nerves like no other.
Yeah, Julia will come to my room, she's like, don't talk to me for half an hour.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I still really like her. She still comes over my house and all the time, but it's just because you're living with someone in such a small space, and like, you're also getting to know them while you're living with them, which is awkward.
Right.
So.
Do any of you have roommates from a different part of the country where perhaps the customs or their family background is so very different that that's both interesting and a challenge?
Yeah. I think what I've really learned from this whole situation is that you Facebook and all these different, technology, it gives you a chance to really meet your roommate and almost get to know them before you get to know them. And what happened with me is I got my roommate assignments and I went on Facebook and I checked her out and she didn't have any information about her. And so, and I was a little bit curious, and I'm in a triple, so my other one, just lives in Westchester, and I was a little bit curious, and my mom tells me to Google her, and naturally I told my mom, she was absolutely ridiculous and didn't know anything about the new age, and Google would not bring anything up. And lo and behold, it came up to IMDb. And my roommate turned out to be a pretty successful child actress. And she was on, she was on a series, and a CW series called Hidden Palms. Now I'm just advertising for her. She's great, Hollywood. Anyway, so.
That's so interesting.
So,
Wait,
and
where's she from?
she's from Bend, Oregon. And the season didn't turn out too well. They had 7 or 8 episodes, and then it was canceled. And she decided to come to Duke, and I made the mistake of thinking that she was going to be either, very, very stuck up because she'd been so successful, as a young girl, or she was going to be very dramatic, and I just, I had nightmares about what this girl was going to be. And she came a week late because she was filming something for HBO, which is coming out. It's called Sugar. Anyway, so she comes, and now she's my best friend. And we cannot get enough of each other. She is absolutely not what I expected. She is the most down-to-earth person in the whole world. And she comes from a family completely different than I do, and it works out so perfectly. So, it's easy to check out their Facebook or check out IMDb and really come up with these amazing stories about how unbelievably terrible they're going to be, but you really don't know until you get there. Yeah. And I'm so happy right now. So
it's actually nice to be surprised sometimes, isn't it? You think you're not going to be compatible with somebody, as Dr. Fried said, from another part of the country, but you end up forming a good friend. Robert?
Yeah, I had a very interesting experience with that. One of my 4 roommates is a devout Mormon from Redlands, California, and one of the first conversations I had with him, one of my other roommates and I are both thinking about being pre-meds, and we had a 3-hour debate with him on evolution versus creationism. And we thought that we were going to be at each other's throats for a really long time, and after deciding that we were never going to discuss religion ever again, we all became really good friends. So that was how we resolved the issue.
Go ahead, Jen.
Well, for me, I think the key is you have to talk to your roommate. You think it might be awkward if there's something that comes up that you're not happy with, but you really need to express your feelings, because I had a situation where I came back after a camping trip once, and there were people sleeping in my bed who I didn't know, and my roommate's friends, and that really bothered me because I don't know, it was my bed and everything. So, but I talked to her about it afterwards, and she was really apologetic, and she knew that she didn't do it on purpose, and it was a long story, but it was better. And I was nervous about talking to her because I was like, I have to live with this person for the rest of the year, and I don't want her to think that I'm that I'm this neurotic. But it was one of these things where if you don't talk about it, it's gonna get worse.
And it just hangs there.
Yeah, and you're just gonna feel worse, and it's not. I mean, you think it's awkward, but you really should express yourself and say, really, I'd prefer if this didn't happen, and we're fine now, and it's great. But
can I switch to academics just for a minute? Is there a course that you absolutely love the first year? Because people go to college and you look at the catalog and you say, my God, I can't wait to take this course. And I think people out there would love to hear what you love and what you're not enchanted with. David? And then
I actually took American politics first semester with Jenny. We got breakfast together. And that was a really great class. I think it was just really interesting fundamentals of American government and American institutions. And I also really liked it because a lot of it went back to stuff I had learned in high school. Even on tests and stuff, I went a lot back to what I learned in U.S. history with Mr. Goldberg and Mr. Goldberg. And that was really enjoyable, I guess, to kind of connect that bridge. And also, we just had an amazing professor who was really engaging, and the class was very interesting, I thought.
Had you known about that professor before you chose the course?
Yeah.
I knew about the course. I didn't know about the professor.
I knew about we have course evaluations, Actually,
Rate My
oddly enough, which
Professors.
you know
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
a
my
supporter
God,
of.
that.
And
Remember the whole
we
flag.
can yeah and like through our school, and so you can look online beforehand to kind of get a sense, and you could just tell he was going to be a good professor, so I picked the class.
That's great.
I also,
Suzanne?
go ahead. No, go.
I was just gonna say I'm in a Psych 101 class, and it's the biggest class in the world. It's
Is that one with
1600.
Professor Moss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that's
Professor
the
Moss.
yeah.
Yeah, you can
I'm
see
taking
it
that next
on
year.
like
Yeah.
most like news channels all the time talking about sleep, and it's just like really amazing because like. I mean, like a lot of the criticism that you would have about like big schools like Cornell is like, oh, there's no like one-on-one with the professor, and obviously he doesn't know my name, but like it's one of those things where I come in now in the or not anymore, but where I would come in the morning and just look around and be like, this doesn't even feel big, it doesn't even feel overwhelming anymore, and like after that I would go to a class with 50 kids, and after that I would go to a class with 15 kids, and like it really breaks up the day, and like it's just something really different, and it's like a show every day. It's so like interesting.
And do you like the course so much that you would consider changing a major?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I wouldn't have thought that I'd be a psych major, but now
Wow.
I might be. And just like a really cool thing was that one of my friends who like just she saw him one day walking outside of class, and she forgot that like she doesn't, because we all feel like we know him because we see him every day, but like she forgot for a second that he doesn't know who she is. So she goes, "Hi, Professor Moss," and he goes, "Oh, hi," like and sat down and asked her what her name is. They had a whole conversation, like, and he might not remember her next time, but like it's just like a really like you shouldn't make judgments.
But
on,
you know,
like,
Suzanne, when you think about it, you said there are 1,600 kids in the course. That's bigger than this high school.
Yeah.
In one single section.
Yeah.
Sophie, do you have a course that you love?
Yeah, I have a couple, but one of them I took kind of on a whim. We have this period called shopping period where you can just go try out classes, and I just sat in on animal behavior just for fun, and it's my favorite class. It's all, well, it's mostly about sex, but it's all about like evolution, and it's about.
Please remember you're on television now.
Well, you know, it's like the fundamental. Anyway, it's also about just aggression and game theory and like the underlying like reasons for all animal behavior. Yeah, and the professor is hilarious, and we watched all these clips of the most fascinating creatures, and it's a lot
Did
of
you watch
fun.
Planet Earth?
No, but.
Do you know what your major is at this point?
I think psychology. Yeah.
And had you known that before this too?
No, I kind of just also on a whim got involved with the psych lab, and I'm like a research assistant, and like it's shown me the whole world of psychology at Harvard, and I love it. So now I'm pretty sure that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take intro psych in the spring, but it was like cool how you just like open one door and all of a sudden you see this whole.
You know, if you permit the the editorializing, it's just amazing. You're talking about things that you hadn't anticipated. People go to college, and they think this is the path that I'm going to take, and then suddenly, by chance, you take a course, you say on a whim, and it can change your entire life, which is really interesting. Spencer?
I was really worried because NYU's requirement system is kind of annoying. I mean, I guess it's the same with a lot of schools, but I was like, I took a really basic like expository freshman writing class, and I was like, ugh, great, it's gonna be the same thing as high school. But I mean, it all depends on your professor. Like my professor turned out to be really interested in community service, so we had to do like, one of our biggest papers was like about a community that we had to like get involved in, and we had to like research something, and it actually like, I don't know, you find things like even in the stupidest, most trivial classes that you have to get like over with. So, I mean, you just have to be really open-minded, and like someone said, rate my professor. Like, oh my God, it's necessary.
It is,
because
Yeah, I pick classes totally.
Yeah, so did I.
it really all depends on the professor.
You know, many people say that it's the professor that makes the class. I mean, you can look at a class that may seem uninteresting, but then the professor is great, and it opens up. Marianne, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to add to the on a whim thing, because it totally changed my perspective on what I might major in, because I just took a philosophy class, which I ended up loving, because especially since we don't get the chance to take something like that in high school, and I loved it, and I loved the professor, and everything he said was interesting. So, and again, like now that I know him, I'll definitely take classes that he's teaching, even if it's something that I wouldn't ordinarily think I might be interested in.
There's a lot of research about how often students change majors, and it's a very, very frequent kind of phenomenon. And there's also a lot of research about almost 50% of students actually change colleges. Do any of you, even though you've only been there about 6 months, can you foresee going to a different school at some point, or do you think you'll stay your 4 or 4+ years, whatever that might look like?
Wait, like a totally different university?
In other words, transferring to a different school.
No.
Go ahead, Molly.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I might consider it. I mean, I really don't know yet because I've just been here there for 4 months, but I'm not sure how many months. Okay.
You're at Barnard.
Yeah, I'm at Barnard, and in some ways it's exactly what I expected, but in others it's really not. I mean, I didn't expect to have 200-person lecture classes. I mean, compared to Suze's class, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, at Barnard I didn't expect that. So for that reason, also being in the city, there's I'm sure you understand how amazing it can be, but there's also very little campus life. So I don't know if I love that aspect yet or not. So I mean, I wouldn't say this was everything I've expected, but it's by no means is it unenjoyable.
Can I ask you something? When you were applying to colleges, did you think about living in the city and how you would like that as opposed to living on a campus?
Yeah.
And are you a city person? I mean,
yeah, well, I really didn't want to feel isolated because, I don't know, that's just, I wanted to have lots of different things to do and different choices rather than just certain, only one thing to do or whatever. But I guess I didn't really consider how it would be on campus. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect.
It's just part of living it and experiencing it.
Yeah.
It's
You're
really
right.
funny how it works out. 'Cause, I applied to Columbia. That was my dream school, and I got rejected. And then I went to Georgetown, and some of the things that I really like about Georgetown are things that Columbia just doesn't have, the basketball team and the Georgetown bubble, but not basketball.
I like Georgetown. Georgetown's number 4.
Yeah, we played Verizon.
Let's not have a fight.
But I mean, that little bubble, the campus, that's nice.
There are things you just don't expect.
Talking about the game last night.
Yeah.
We got the number 1 recruit. All right, let's not go there. But I mean, it's certain things you end up really loving, you don't even realize it until you're 4 months into college.
Right.
You're how could I not have considered this when I applied to college? So
yeah.
So maybe for seniors out there, if they don't get into the college of their first choice and they think it's tragic that they didn't, it's not all as important, right?
Also,
From what
the guy who came
Ian?
and spoke at Mamaroneck High School, what was his name? Mooney?
Jonathan Mooney.
Jonathan Mooney. He was talking, I remember my mom went to both, and she said she saw, and that he didn't get into the college he wanted to get to. I think it was Brown, and he went to some other college, did really well, and then transferred.
That's right.
Because when you transfer, they don't really look at your high school grades
That's
as heavily.
right.
They look
That's
at your
right.
first semester.
You shouldn't be. I don't think you should be so focused on
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I know someone who just didn't get into where she wanted, so now she's only at her school now to go to Cornell next year because she got a guaranteed transfer, which is just make the most of where you are, and then you can see.
But you know, Suzanne, even though the counselors say that to you, it goes in one ear and out the other, and people are still very crestfallen when they don't get into one particular college.
Well, it's still hard.
It hurts.
I know, it's hard.
It
It hurts. It
I would
hurts.
say though, if you get, I mean, I applied to Brown early and got deferred, and then I ended up being rejected. But after I got deferred, I visited schools that even after I had to send in applications because of deadlines. But then I started visiting schools, and you really I ended up when I visited Georgetown after I'd been deferred from Brown, I loved it, and I said, if I don't get into Georgetown, this is where I want to go.
Right.
And I mean, if I didn't get into Brown, it's where I want to go. And then I didn't get into Brown, and I wasn't. When I found out I was in Georgetown, I wasn't upset at all. So, and I didn't think I was going to love Georgetown, but when I visited, I did. So you really just need to give every school a chance. And I think, especially after you're accepted and you have the accepted students weekend, I got such a good feel of the school, and you really should take advantage of those weekends because I knew after that.
Right.
Stay over. With
Yeah. Be honest
So
yourself.
an important message is there's more than one fit for every student.
Definitely.
Also, a lot of people grow up thinking that they know exactly whose school is perfect for them. And and for some people it works out. For some people you end up there. For other people you don't end up there. And I think you need to understand that. I think about schools that I visited, and I talk to friends who are going to schools that I thought about applying to and then decided not to. And they're having a great time, and I know I'd be having a great time. There isn't just one school for everybody.
And
Like,
you find things once you're there. I mean, you were saying before with like the school spirit. I never imagined myself being a kid who would get really into like school spirit. I love that everything at Northwestern is purple. I think it's so much fun. Like in football games, I hate the color. I hate the color, but I just love how spirited it is. No, I think it's like you find things once you're there that you didn't know you would.
Can I ask you something I'm curious about? I'm looking around the room, and some of you were in yearbooks, some of you were very, very gifted athletes, musicians. You did a lot of extracurricular things at the high school. What's happened to all of those extracurricular activities and interests at college? Video, I'm looking at Eric. I'm just curious. Jen?
Well, for me, I went in thinking I didn't want to do any of the things I had done in high school, not because I didn't enjoy them, because I wanted to try something new. So I wrote for the newspaper. I didn't want to do that. I wanted like new experiences. I even left my instrument at home to like force myself to do different things. And I ended up applying and getting onto WashU's EMT team. So I'm now, at the end of next semester, I'm going to be a licensed EMT, which is something I never would have thought that I would do. But I'm loving it.
And I can vouch, it's very competitive. And she's gonna be awesome.
But and I'm not pre-med or anything like that. But I don't have to be in order to do it. And it's gonna be it's something that's amazing, and it's so much fun so far. And I'm just really excited. So I completely just went to the total turn and wanted to do something different, and I found it, and I'm really excited about that.
And will you eventually bring your instrument back?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I will.
Because it feels bad.
I know. It's sitting in my room all alone, but I will.
It's all alone.
I brought my instrument and then had to bring it home, which was really sad. Yeah, I tried out for the orchestra. I didn't make it. I didn't think I was going to make it. Cornell is an amazing orchestra, and also violin is just like a really competitive instrument. And that was like my life in high school. So I was crushed for like 2 days, and then I started to write for the newspaper, which was something that you would think would be really competitive. It's a daily newspaper. So many people write for it, and it was like the easiest thing. I mean, it's hard to write articles, but it's the easiest thing to get involved in. So it's like one thing doesn't work out, another thing does, and I take jazz piano.
Which paper do you write for?
This one. And I'd only
There's more than one?
And I'd only done like regular piano, not regular classical piano before, and I'd never done jazz. So now that's like something I'm starting, and it's like, so I'm not doing what I did exactly in high school.
I don't think I've ever done the show where as many people are as comfortable moving into things they hadn't originally considered as today. I think it's really amazing, and it's a great message out there. Other extracurricular activities, Marion? And then Eric, and even Spencer's going to ask you about acting.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was going to add to Susie because I took my violin, and I didn't really think I would join the orchestra, even though it was my life in high school, because it's a huge, huge time commitment, and I wasn't ready to jump into that first semester. But I brought it anyway, just in case some kind of other musical group popped up, which it did. And so now I'm, what?
An emergency.
An emergency, a musical emergency. But I actually just joined the mariachi group, which I never, ever would have dreamed of doing. But my friend told me about it, and so I just tried out. And it's they play like Mexican traditional folk songs and mariachi music, and we have costumes and everything. And we do gigs off campus, we do gigs on campus, and it's a really cool way to like stay with the instrument but completely try another direction, because I'm not playing classical anymore, even though I miss it. But you never know what can come your way in any day.
And I might look
And can I ask you too about athletics? You were an athlete in high school.
Yeah.
Do you still play sports?
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
no. I'm really sad about that, actually, because I would have loved to have kept playing field hockey for even just a club or intramural team, but Pomona doesn't have like a big field hockey anything. Because I think it's mostly,
Mostly
it's just
sand?
I guess it's not as big a sport where I am, and Pomona also is D3 and kind of small, so very small. So the sports thing I'm kind of bummed about, but I do go to the soccer games a lot, and I do see some sports regardless of what you guys might think. I do go to them. So it's really nice.
Spencer, do you act?
First semester I didn't, and that's my biggest issue with NYU, and I think people who go to big schools can totally vouch for this. The red tape and getting through to the administration or getting involved can sometimes be really difficult, and it's also really difficult, especially at NYU, and I imagine at schools like GW or whatever, because everything's so spread out, and it's to go to a meeting, you have to walk 20 blocks, and it's just oh my god, and I'm such a lazy person. The acting thing hasn't really worked out yet, but next semester I'm going to be a lot more
NYU is
involved.
particularly strong for acting.
In Tisch for drama, but I'm like a communications major, so it's a totally separate program.
I see.
So if you're not like you have to know what you're getting into. And to be honest, I thought there would be way more opportunities, but they're obviously going to choose kids who are majoring in drama over kids who are like not, you know.
How about the rest of you? Eric, you're going to mention about
I'm doing Taekwondo now. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I wanted, a fun way to work out and stay in shape rather than just going to the rec center.
Yeah, I totally signed up
And they
for
keep
Taekwondo.
saying, if you're not flexible, we'll get you flexible. And I have no flexibility at all. Like I can bend down and touch my waist, and now I can basically do a full split almost.
Whoa!
Which is kind of nice. And that's it's 3 days a week. It's a lot of fun, and I worked on the
How
Globe.
many of you would like Eric to demonstrate it right now?
Yeah, do it. And these pan out. But I worked on the Globe in high school, and that was fun. And now I have my own sports column, which is nice because I don't have to edit, I don't have to read other people's, and I can just vent about sports, and that's great. And we don't have. I just do national sports because we're D3 athletics also, except for lacrosse, and they're not really like great sports to go watch. But it's a lot of fun.
Sarah, you playing?
Well, it's a sad story. No. Well, actually, sports was probably the most important part of my high school experience. And then I went to a big D1 school in Southern sports, and they are absolutely phenomenal at field hockey and lacrosse. So I did club, which ended up being an amazing experience because I was...
But did you think, excuse me for a second, did you think the caliber of play at a Division I school would be that high that you would have difficulty making?
Yes.
You were a very good athlete.
Thank you. But they happened to have one of the... They didn't do that well this year, but they have usually the first, second, third best field hockey team in the nation. And that was not something I wanted to do. The coach is borderline insane, and the girls don't look that happy all the time. So I just, it wasn't something that I thought was so important to me that I wanted to put myself through that. But I did do club, and it was a very interesting experience because I was on a team with 3 guys from Pakistan, some 27-year-olds.
That's really cool.
We played adults. We went to College Park and had tournaments there. We went to South and everywhere. And it was, a 3-day-a-week commitment, which was exactly what I wanted. But I will say, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I wish I went to, a D3 school and was playing because it is really important to me, and I miss the team aspect. But club sports are a good experience, I think.
Something I really like is that I find that everyone who's involved in the stuff they do now really wants to be involved in it. And in high school, in general, people did that, but some people just did things because, it looked good to do this. Right. And now you really have the chance to get to do what you want to do just because you enjoy it. And so, it's also another good way to meet people, because I find that, like, if you're joining a music group, everyone's really there because they love music just like you, and therefore you have a common interest. And it's like, I'm in the student government, and that's something I did in high school, and I still love doing it. But the people there have a lot of similarities to me, and I've made a lot of good friends that way. So I think the fact that people are doing things because they actually love doing it, it's really nice.
It's so interesting just listening to you talk, because it seems that unlike high school sometimes when you're so concerned about doing things so you can get into college, people are doing things for the right reason because you're genuinely interested in it. Yeah. And that's something we really haven't talked about on this show before. May I ask you something about high school? I want you to be honest with me. Did the high school prepare you well for college? And if there are things where we could do a better job, please say it. Anybody? Did we prepare you well for college?
I think it definitely.
Yeah.
Especially
socially as well.
Westchester people are high quality.
Yeah, socially is fine. I also have my best friend there, but socially is fine. And I think academically, I think the writing here is really
English
strong.
department is amazing.
And I had
the writing program.
Yeah, and English my junior and senior year definitely prepared.
It depends though, not.
It does depend, but I took a philosophy class and I felt totally comfortable writing essays and stuff. And I think writing is probably one of, seeing that my friends in my classes is probably one of the biggest issues. Just writing styles and not feeling comfortable writing an essay, and I felt fine with that. So. And
that comes up a lot. People wonder whether the writing we did in the high school prepares you for college writing, and it's sometimes different. Very different. Other people?
I feel like maybe in terms of research papers, I don't know. Not to say I wanted tons of research papers in high school, but that's one area I don't know if I feel so prepared in yet. Maybe it's also I'm taking writing 1 next semester, and maybe that will help me. But I feel
What, do you have research papers to do now?
yeah, just like and I feel like in comparison to maybe some of my friends, I don't think I feel as prepared in that sense.
I think
Research?
our foreign language department is also really
Good, strong.
Oh, I felt not prepared.
It's like I
felt really prepared for my class.
It's like I was in a Portuguese class, and like even things that I learned, like maybe I was just like lucked out with Mr. Markeski because he was like so
He was a really good
incredible.
teacher.
But like things that I learned in Spanish with him like helped me out so much in Portuguese and stuff, and just like everything we learned in his class, like I just like had that sort of like ingrained like in my head, and it was like for like Portuguese it was like a breeze. It was like obviously I mean like for other reasons it would have been my easiest class anyways, but like it was pretty easy with like on top of that with the things I learned here, like made it that much better. So
For French, I felt very under.
French?
Yeah, like I mean like I was in the class that I should have been because like on that SAT 2 I like scraped the grade that I needed to get into the class that I would have like chosen for myself to be in at school, but I still don't. I feel like I should have known more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Spanish was my favorite class in school.
Good luck.
Just for a second, some people out there know. Raise your hand. How many people in high school had Spanish, took Spanish? How many people took French?
Chinese.
And how many took Chinese?
Yeah.
And you know, I'm just curious, of the people who took Chinese, anybody continuing on in college in Chinese?
I will.
And so tell us how the Chinese is going in college, because the Chinese program
Well, I actually
is expanding here.
Yeah, I took the first semester off because what happened to me is I think you really need to be honest with yourself, because I thought I was the best Chinese student ever and jumped right into intermediate in a very difficult program. And the first day of class, I couldn't do the homework because I didn't understand what he said. I didn't know there was homework, so, because the whole class is in Chinese. And I was just really honest with myself, and I said, okay, you know, I'm probably not where I'm expected to be. And at the same time, I didn't want to have a gut course where, you know, I could take Chinese 1 and just cruise through it. So I took the semester off, but I just spoke to my Chinese teacher. She said, I'll come right back. So I trust her with my life. So, but yeah, I mean, he's still taking it.
Yeah.
It's like,
And are you well prepared for
I'm like in the class that's like the third semester, and I feel very well prepared, and I love it so much, and it reminds me a lot of Chinese in high school, and of course I loved Lalosha in high school, and it's a great class, and I feel like it's something I really want to continue with. And as far as I know, I haven't spoken to a single kid who took Chinese in high school and isn't taking Chinese in college now. I think everyone I know is continuing.
We were all pretty well prepared for the intermediate level, I would say. Most people are in the intermediate or like a third semester type course. And my teacher wasn't so great, but she spoke Chinese with us more than we did in high school, which was really nice.
Yeah.
But the textbook that we used was about the same level
and the
that we were at, and
is about the same.
Yeah, it's very comparable, I would say.
Some other responses to whether the high school prepared you well for college? People who haven't spoken? Anybody?
I don't know about college, but
for friends.
I felt very, very well prepared to kind of go off and live and meet people and to discuss everything and anything. And just kind of like the people I met, they were always impressed about when I talked about high school stories and my friends and stuff. They were always impressed, both with like offerings, with, you know, like classes that I took, classes that we had, you know, various clubs, programs, sports. You know, people were always
going to China.
Impressed. Going to China, Lalosha. No, but I genuinely felt very well prepared to do anything.
And I feel like the high school prepared us like socially to be open to lots of different kinds of people.
School.
Yeah, because a lot
of
people that I've met who've come from like more closed-minded areas, or high schools were only like really specific type of person, like only really wealthy from this like region. Like they're not used to the diversity.
Yeah.
And I feel like it makes it difficult for them, but for me, like I feel comfortable talking to almost anyone.
Yeah, especially at RISD, a lot of kids came from like art magnet high schools, where all they did was art. That's all they did like all day long. It was like an art school for high school, and none of them have ever written like anything for papers. So the English class is like E101. It's really like scaled down for them. And I feel like English was 100 times harder in Mamaroneck High School than it was like at the beginning level of RISD. But I mean, I imagine it's gonna get a little bit more difficult. But it definitely helped like prepare. They like don't know how to interact with like other people because that's all they've ever had contact with, like artistic people.
Is there something we could do with the high school looking back? Is there something we could do more effectively in terms of preparing you for college?
No.
I really like you, all of you.
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
I mean, and I think, and maybe, I don't know, because maybe this, I'm sure this has helped me in college, but in terms of just like talking to other people about their high schools who I've met, I mean, I think that like Mamaroneck just has so much pressure to take like all like the APs that you're not interested in, whereas like my friends in, not that I didn't like BC, I mean Dr. Allen was amazing, but it's like my friends at school are like, I thought you didn't like math, like why did you take BC calculus in high school? And you know, maybe that's why Cornell isn't so hard for me or something like that. I don't really know, but I mean, I'm just thinking maybe my high school experience would have been better and maybe I'd be a less like high pressure person if I hadn't been like trained to take all that.
Do you think you took too many AP courses?
I don't think I took too many.
It's really nice now having them under my belt because like I passed out of certain requirements. I don't have to take a math class ever again if I don't want to. You know, and it's nice to have that freedom to like go abroad and not worry about it.
See, we can't even. I can't use most of the credits, but I thought what was really great is that we walked into our physics class with Dr. Nunez, and he sat us down and he said, I'm going to teach this class a college course. And I didn't take a single note in that class. I sat there, he gave me the slides just like it was a college course, and I could go online and watch the lectures. And I listened to him. And it wasn't about, you know, can I write down everything he says, you know, word for word. And I think that was what really prepared me. The expectation that being AP class, you're going to learn like a college student. And so you've got a better feel for that, you know, he's going to talk and I'm going to listen. I'm going to write down what I think is important, and he's not going to feed me what's important. And I think that was really, really...
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really agree with Sarah. I think it's not possible to take too many AP courses in order to be prepared for college stuff. Like, I didn't do a physics course this semester, and I was thinking about doing this because I really liked physics, but even in my biochemistry course and my multivariable calculus course, the discipline of problem solving that you get from physics or from BC helps you so much, even if it's not directly being tested. And so I think that the thought process and that is demanded of you in any AP course absolutely helps you be prepared for anything, at least from a math and science perspective.
Any of you take AP courses that you're not using? Well, you did well, but you're just not using the. And
I'm using like 3.
Which ones are you not using? And what?
AP American didn't cover anything.
But it did help though.
Reading, learning how to like
read a textbook
is so helpful.
A textbook that's really boring.
And you think, Spencer, if you're in non-AP courses, you don't have that exposure to reading?
No, I don't think that's true. But I mean, when you're reading like Garrity, it's like, oh my god,
they don't have Garrity anymore.
Right. But it's like really nice now when I have to read like, you know, like 100 pages in like a night of something that I am completely like not really that interested in, and I like can make myself interested in it just because of high school. So
knowing how to read a textbook and take good notes is so. I mean, my chemistry class, we have a horrible professor, and the entire class is reading and like staring at the textbook until you understand it. And I've read like 300 pages within like 2 days, you know, and you just have to do it. And I mean, it's not that difficult. It takes time, but I don't find it difficult to learn from a textbook, which is really important. So
I think though that as much as the APs were important, and I'm glad I did take the APs that I took, I feel like for some students you could tell certain kids didn't enjoy the class they were in and didn't want to be there and were struggling, and it was all just about taking it because it looked good to apply to college with this AP. And I think that doesn't really matter and is kind of a mistake. And I have a lot of friends at school who didn't take the same APs as me, or in their, you know, only took 2 APs maybe in high school, and they're still at school, you know, they still got into college, and they're fine. And maybe they don't have as much like back credit, you know, to play around with, but it's okay. You're at college to take classes.
Point. You said it a lot better.
And I don't know.
I didn't take 1 AP class like in high school, and to me, like, I worked really hard even though it wasn't an AP class. I know there's classes where I did not have to do a thing, like honestly, and I knew there's classes like that, but I still worked like I really had to, and that alone prepared me for school. So,
it's however much you make of it.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. 'Cause like, I mean, like right now we have what's called like a 4-year plan with our dean, where they basically make like a fake, like obviously you don't have to stick to it, but they like map out your next 4 years, like what do you want to major in, like do you want to go abroad, sort of thing. And like I just found out that like I can do like so much with my schedule. I can double major, I can go abroad for like a year if I wanted to, all because of my AP credit. So like at the same time, like I don't know if it's the same at every school, but like at least in our school, like I'm really happy that I have that credit.
You know, I have to admit to you that it's talking to you, it's like being with friends. I could talk for 2.5 hours with you, and it makes me realize how much I miss all of you. I do. This has been an unbelievable group. I think you probably have things to do, and we certainly should end this, but I just wanted to say, and let Dr. Fried close himself, I just wanted to say that I'm very, very happy you came back, and I hope you'll come back to visit a lot. I miss you an awful lot. And I wish you have a very good vacation and a happy new year. And I know your parents are somewhat happy to have you back. It may change in a few days, but thank you so much, Dr. Fried.
I just want to add that as we approach 2008, hearing from you and your experiences, and particularly how well prepared you've been as a result of your experience here in the school district, it makes me feel very good. And I'm sure that it will make our staff and all of our teachers feel wonderful in terms of your comments. So we wish you well. We hope you come back and visit again and let us know how things go when you get back in the spring. So have a great break and enjoy the new year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.